My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my ranking of the modern Resident Evil games, and this video will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But I've only played the 5 newest games, so I'll be ranking the remakes of Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, along with Resident Evil 7 BioShock and Village. And man, I love this franchise. Like, a lot. I just find it to be terrifying and fun and tension filled and anxiety driven and funny and campy, and it's just everything I want a franchise like this to be. And coming up with this list was very difficult because the top 4 games were almost neck and neck and neck and neck. Like, it's a lot of love here, but let's begin with the worst one. And I hate putting this game so far down because everybody hates it and I do legitimately really like it. But it is definitely the worst of these 5, and I have to go Resident Evil 3. Now, I do have a few issues. I think it starts off a little rough. It does get better. It's a little too short. And I'm not the biggest fan of Nemesis here. Like, he's good, but sometimes it got a bit stale to my liking. But I still thought Nemesis was a good villain. I thought Jill Valentine and Carlos were great characters, lots of personality, very easy to root for them. I thought this game had lots of atmosphere and dread. I love the lab setting at the very end. I love going back to the police station that you were in for the last game. And I think it does everything a Resident Evil game should. Like, I think it's just got that biological element to the plot. It has some sliminess. It has tension. It's a really fun game. It's just feels a little lacking at the same time. So it's the worst of the 5, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game by any means. The 4th best is Resident Evil 7. Now, I gave this game a 7.5 out of 10, but it has sat incredibly well with me that I would bump it up to an 8. Now, I know this is a hot take, but I still didn't like the chainsaw fight. And I do think it kind of ends on an underwhelming note. The villains, the enemies you fight are pretty repetitive, especially when you compare it to other games in the franchise. But man, like, this game is terrifying. Like, it kept me on edge the entire time. I love the entire Bayou setting and how they utilize it. And I also love the use of backtracking here. They pull so many different elements from different games here, and each one is masterful in how it's handled. I love some of the body horror going on. I love all the different bugs. I love the videotapes with the grainy texture to them. It kind of reminded me of like a found footage movie. I didn't talk about them enough in my review, but I do think the villains were really good. I think Lucas reminded me of Jigsaw from Saw. Marguerite, I believe is her name, was really creepy and sinister, and Jack Baker was just, man, like, the guy just is relentless and he's menacing and not your typical villain, which I did enjoy. You got yourself some really terrifying sequences, one in a basement that keeps you on edge. And like, the villain, like the enemies, the tall creatures, they're still creepy in that setting. There's also one scene later on when you're in a kid's room, and that scene just had me on edge big time. And I like the Texas Chainsaw vibes at the same time. So yeah, like, I still love this game. I had a lot of fun playing with it. It's just a game to get lost in. I love the environment and how it's brought to life. It's terrifying. Yeah, like, I don't know. I definitely bump up my score to an 8 because I really love it. And I kind of want to play it again. I didn't play any of the DLC. Maybe I should. Yes. The top three are tough, especially the next two. And I thought about this a lot and I went back and forth. But I ultimately settled on my third favorite Resident Evil game being the second one. I love this game so much. It's just survival horror in the most pure sense, where you have to be very selective with what weapons you have and how much ammo you hold on to, and how you don't have enough, so you have to just run by the zombies and just try to get by them, and there'll be an area that you barely get by and you're like, I never want to go there again, but you have to go back there 5 or 6 times. It's just a very anxiety driven game, and that's what I love so much about it. I love the backtracking and the puzzle solving, and it's just, you never feel safe. You never feel like you get a break. It's just filled with atmosphere and dread, and that's just in the first half. But in the second half, you've got this giant Mr. X following you around everywhere, and you can always hear him sneaking up, and it just, whenever you hear him, you just, it's just relentless. Like, you don't get a break here, and it's just such an experience. It's the first game I played with this franchise, and I just fell in love with it instantly. It just gave me something so unique and so well directed, and the fact they made an entire game in one setting was really impressive. And man, like, I love this game. I gave it an 8.5. I don't know, maybe it goes up to a 9 on a replay. I actually want to play it again just talking about it. Man, it's great. Yeah, love it. My second favorite game is, and I guess this is a hot take, but it's Resident Evil Village. I love the game. I did my review, and then I watched other people's reviews, and I was surprised to see how negative people were with it. Like, I personally love the mix of action and horror. I thought it was really well handled here. And like, this game might not be as consistently scary as Resident Evil 7, but I thought Lady Dimitrescu gave you the Mr. X anxiety. I thought the scene with the giant fetus was absolutely terrifying, like one of the scariest scenes in anything ever. I thought the Mole Man had some nice body horror. Everything with the cyborgs in the factory was very atmospheric, so it's not like scary, but I don't know, I still found it to be pretty effective, and I still thought it was really fun. Yeah, and like, I like the character of Ethan Winters much better in this game. It actually fixed some of my issues with him in number 7. He has a lot more personality, and I like his pissed off attitude that he gets by the end of it. It's really great. And yeah, like, I was pretty satisfied with everything regarding him here, and I thought it ended on a very sweet note where we see his daughter at his grave. And yeah, like, I guess we're not getting Claire or Jill or Carlos or Leon in this game, but I think it's good for games to evolve and to introduce new characters. Yeah, and then I just love how different this game is. Like, you've got witches, cyborgs, vampires, did I already say werewolves? I'll say werewolves again. A mole man, a doll, a baby fetus. Just, you got a little bit of everything. And I don't know, it just really freshens this game up. It allows it so you can have even more fun with it, and I thought they all added something a little bit different. I thought Lady Dimitrescu was such a great villain, voiced expertly by Maggie Robertson. I love how elegant but menacing she could be. I thought Angie, just as a doll, was a really great presence. I thought Heisenberg was a really great villain as well. He kind of sounded like Nicolas Cage to me, and I liked the sliminess of the Mole Man. And I love this constant sense of dread that you get throughout, and I don't know, I feel like it went bigger and was more ambitious, and it all really worked for me. I would have maybe fixed the structure up a little bit, but yeah, I really loved this game. It just reminded me why I love the genre and the franchise so much, and if the next game is scarier, I'll be thrilled, but I don't know, I don't know, I just think this game gave me everything I wanted from a Resident Evil game. But not as much as my favorite game of the bunch, and it's Resident Evil 4. This game just blew me away. I tried to play the original, but the controls just made it impossible for me, so I finally gave it a try, and man, this game just hooked me. I love the atmosphere, and I love the dread. The village and the escalation of everything, how you eventually enter a castle setting and an island at the end, how there's this religious cult and they mutate into freaks, and then you've got these giant spiders and these giant bugs and this giant underwater creature, and then these dogs and these white creatures where you have to shoot the heart. There's this one suit of armor sequence that is absolutely relentless and terrifying. Those bear traps everywhere on the island, you just never feel safe, and I don't know, like I just thought this game was so masterful in the execution of everything. It's always evolving, it never gets stale, you never feel safe, it keeps you on edge the entire time. I love the setting. I thought Leon and Ashley were really great characters, and I liked the entire ticking time bomb element of the plot where they're both infected and how Ashley kind of snaps in and out of it. The sound design's great, and it's like the hardest game I've ever played, and I died a lot, and that just kind of added to the dread. And there's also this one sequence where there are these body bags hanging from the roof, and most of them don't move, but some do, and like when you walk past them and then someone comes out, you're like, it's great. Yeah, I absolutely love this game. I just think it's really phenomenal, and man, like this franchise is just talking about each one. I kind of want to replay them all. They all deliver on something different, and I feel like they're all exceptional in their own ways, and yeah, I don't know, maybe by the time this video actually comes out, there might be another one out. We'll see. If there is, then that's why it's not included in this list. But I love this franchise. That's my ranking. What's yours? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.